بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية. The first of our loud salawat in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The second even louder salawat in honor of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. A third with your loudest voices in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asri wa zaman. Respected scholars, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Cursing Yazid, without a doubt, is an act of worship. La'na on Yazid is an act that gets us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according, of course, to original Islam. But then when a person looks at the Sunni school, you'll see that they're still not decided as to whether a person should curse Yazid or they should not, as to whether Yazid warrants a curse or not, as to whether Yazid could be blamed for what happened at Karbala entirely or not, as to whether Yazid could have been amongst the repentant or not. Indeed, this is somewhat flabbergasting, because the reality is that when you send a la'na on anyone, a la'na is a dua asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to withdraw His mercy from an individual. Sometimes when it's translated in English with the word curse, it starts to be thought of as inflammatory. Whereas the reality is that in the Arabic, you find that it means that it's a dua. That dua is a dua where I raise my hands. In raising my hands, for example, in the famous segment of Ziyarat Ashura. Ziyarat Ashura, as you all know, came to us from Imam al-Baqir, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayh. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. In that ziyarah, there are a number of times in which you are meant to raise your hands in dua. Many don't. Many read the ziyarah in parrot fashion without knowing what much of it means. But if a person reads the ziyarah with understanding, it's a completely different thought. When you get to the stage where you say, Allahumma al'an, for example, the people of Marwan and the people of Umayyah, these people, you raise your hands in dua when you do that, because la'in is a dua. You are raising your hands asking Allah to remove His mercy from that particular individual or that particular group of people. Sometimes within the Shia and outside of the Shia, you have people who may object to la'na. They may be members of your own household, or they may be members of your own community. When you say to the one who's not Shi'i and from the school of Saqifa, why is it that you don't do la'na? They refer to certain ahadith, and that's their right to as well. Amongst these ahadith, for example, is the hadith in Sahih Muslim, where the Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, says that I was not sent as a curser, rather I was sent as a rahmah. Nice hadith when you listen to it. Nice, easy listening, that hadith. I was not sent as a curser. I am not a la'an, a person who curses. Rather, I am sent as a mercy to mankind. As if, therefore, from that statement, the ones who do la'na are opposite to the rahmah. If you do la'na, you are therefore opposite to mercy. Therefore, in the Sunni school, you'll find that hadiths like this come forward and are quoted as hadiths to prove that you shouldn't do la'na on anybody. You say, even if that person insulted Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi or his family, or he raised his voice against the Prophet or his family, or he was rude to the Prophet or his family, or he fought the Prophet or his family, or he killed the Prophet or his family, they say, yes, no la'na. Leave it to Allah to decide. That is the common opinion of which school? The school of Saqifa. In the Shia community, you may have people who object to la'na. You may have people in our own community who will say to you that, listen, I don't like them, but I won't do la'na. Say to them, why? And they may give different reasons. Let's look at some of their reasons. One group may, for example, say that, look, my mother is Sunni and my father is Shia. I don't want to hurt the feelings of my mum. And therefore, I will not do this la'na. You say, yes, but your mum has her grave, you have your grave. Your mum has to decide on herself, you have to decide on yourself. At the end of the day, if your mum has decided that a man who fights Ali in Siffin, or a man who fights Hussein at Karbala, does not deserve a dua against them, asking Allah to withdraw his rahmah, then that's your mum's prerogative. Why should you put it on yourself? If your mum is insulted because you do la'na, then your mum has to readdress her priorities. That's on the one side. Then you have a second group. What do they say? They say we have many Sunni friends, and therefore we don't do la'na. Why? Because we don't want to hurt any of our Sunni friends. At the end of the day, our Sunni friends have their reading of Islam, and they have every right to have that reading. If my Sunni friend today believes that Abu Talib is a kafir, it is completely up to him. I cannot stop him. But you have to allow me also to say who I think is a kafir as well. If you could call someone a kafir through your reading, through your history, through your analysis, through your research, allow me also to call someone kafir. I believe the uncle of Rasulullah is not just in Jannah. I believe Jannah belongs to him. Yes? But if you believe, like Bukhari tells us, that he's at the bottom of hell, then you can have that belief. But then if I want to believe that someone's at the bottom of hell, I have every right to as well. Therefore, the second group who don't do la'na is because they say that our families, maybe what? Our families or our friends will be in a state of difficulty or in a state of trial if la'na is done. They may be hurt because of la'na being done. When you see all of these, therefore someone asked the question that Ahl al-Bayt alayhi salam, if la'na has such repercussions, why would they do la'na very clearly by names in ziyaras like Ziyarat Ashura? There isn't a single Shi'i in the world who at one stage or another has not read Ziyarat Ashura. Yep. When you read Ziyarat Ashura, you see Allahumma al'an Aba Sufyan wa Muawiyah wa Yazid ibn Muawiyah, Umar bin Sa'ad, Shimr bin Dil Jawshan. All of these, their names are mentioned in the ziyarah, and the word la'na is next to them. Likewise, even on night 19 and 21 of Shahr Ramadan, all of us, as part of our a'mal al-Shia, we do la'na on Ibn Muljam. Don't we? Allahumma al'an qatalata. Don't we all say that? That la'na on the one who killed Imam Ali alayhi salam. In other words, part of our culture as Shia is that la'na is a form of tabarra. And tabarra is to dissociate from the enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is not something illogical. But yet still until today, you'll find that amongst the Shia, some who might be hesitant to do la'na publicly, and that is appreciated. At the end of the day, la'na, just because it is recommended, doesn't mean a person does it willy-nilly. At the end of the day, like any act, there is a time and place for every act. There is a context for every place. There is an understanding for every place to do it. But in the Saqifa school, when it comes to la'na, that is something which is seen as a no-go area when it comes especially to the Sahaba or to the Tabi'een or the Tabi'een. Even when it comes to Yazid. Yazid, you would think, is clear as day. So when it comes to others before Yazid, those who paved the way for Yazid to dominate, when it comes to them, someone in the Saqifa Sunni school, I may look at them and say that I don't blame you. At the end of the day, there may be readings where you differ. But when it comes to Yazid, you will be flabbergasted. When you read just how much Islam after Rasulullah had become Bani Umayyah, not the Islam of Wilayah of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And how ulama who are revered in institutions today, when asked the question about Yazid, some of them would turn around and say, how do you know? Maybe in the same way Wahshi repented having ripped up Hamza, maybe Yazid repented also. Let's tonight examine the la'na on Yazid in Shia and non-Shia Muslims. And let's examine it in the following stages. Number one, if la'na is an act which is not appropriate, where in the Quran does Allah keep doing it? Number two, how does Allah even show that there is a tree of people who are the people of la'na, and that their descendants will one day sit on the pulpit of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alih. Number three, whenever anyone tells you, why do you Shia do la'na? Reply to them, we learned from Mughira and Muawiyah the art of la'na. Number four, when it comes to la'na on Yazid, what is the opinion of the Sunni world, especially the Saqifa school? Which ones of them say no chance? Which ones of them say not a good guy, but no chance? And which one of them wrote a book replying to the zealots who said, I will not do la'na on Yazid by proving that even though I'm not Shia, that man deserves a la'na for what he did. Further than that, what if your friend today comes and tells you that I don't want to do la'na because I'm not that type? Which examples in his life can you give that when he's angry with an oppressor today in the Middle East, he'll do la'na as soon as he sees his face on TV? But when it's the killer of the grandson of Rasulullah, he becomes all quiet all of a sudden. And finally, on the 10th of Muharram, how did Yazid even order that his own cousins should all be butchered as well? Let's examine this and dissect the topic in complete depth. First and foremost, when I as a Shi'i, as the true Islam, when I do la'na, it's because I'm following the principles of the Quran. The Quran is full of verses of la'na. Someone says, where in particular? All of you know the most basic ayah in the Quran which does la'na. Which one? Surah 11, verse 18 of the Quran. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ala la'natullahi ala who? When we say ala la'natullah ala dhalimeen, what are we saying? We are saying that the person who is an oppressor, we ask Allah what? Allah withdraws His mercy from that individual. La'natul, any dhalim who has oppressed mankind. Fir'aun, la'natullah alayh. Nimrud, la'natullah alayh. All of these people, Qabil, la'natullah alayh. When it comes to Qarun, la'natullah alayh. Haman, la'natullah alayh. Why would all Muslims do la'na on these lot? Who is the biggest of them you do la'na on? Shaitan. Yes. Quran says, la'anahu Allah. Allah, when he does la'na, what does it mean? Allah withdraws his rahmah from an individual. The first types of individuals who you do la'na on are who? Are the zalimeen. A zalim is the oppressor. The one who takes away the rights of people. The one who unjustly treats people. People, of course, are on different levels. Someone may do dhulm to me. And yes, the heavens may shake. But it's not like doing dhulm to a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. True? You do dhulm to a prophet of Allah. For goodness sake, if you done dhulm to a camel of a prophet, that whole nation got turned upside down. The naqa of Salih, the camel of Salih, you all know the story. The people of Salih and Thamud, because the people killed the camel, they were turned, they were destroyed. A camel of a prophet, if someone kills it, the la'na of Allah is on that person. Imagine the grandson of a prophet. Yep. Therefore, the first ayah on la'na is what? La'na on the zalimeen. Surah 11, verse 18. Number 2, la'na on the kathibeen. In the Quran, Surah 3, verse 61. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. فَمَنْ حَاجَّكَ فِيهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ فَقُلْ تَعَالَوْا. You all know the ayah of Mubahala. نَدْعُو أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ ثُمَّ نَبْتَهِلْ فَنَجْعَلْ لَعْنَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْكَاذِبِينَ. La'na again in the Quran. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Christians, look, you bring your sons, we'll bring our sons. You bring your woman, we'll bring our woman. You bring yourselves, and we will bring ourselves. Then we'll enter a mubahala. A mubahala is when you two say that, listen, I'm right, and you're like, no, I'm right. And then you'll say, okay, are you ready? And are you certain that you're right? You'll say yes. Okay, we'll invoke Allah to curse whoever's wrong. Normally, most people run away at that moment because automatically you're thinking, you know what, I'm not going to have Allah's curse on me. That mubahala, the Quran ended the ayah on mubahala with what? With la'na on the kathibeen. Even in Karbala, there was a mubahala between the army, a member of the army of Imam al-Hussein, member of the army of Yazid. That if you say you are on the path of haqq, then are you ready to do a mubahala one-on-one with me? That we ask Allah, we're only 72. You're 30,000. Why are you getting scared? Yes? Are you ready to enter mubahala? The second ayah on la'na is what? La'natallahi alal kadhibin. The third ayah, people said, yes, but this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doing la'na. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's la'na is that He removes the rahmah away from you. One of the killer ayahs on this is this third ayah. Surah 33, verse 57 of the Quran. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُؤْذُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ لَعَنَهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. Imagine this ayah. وَعَدَّ لَهُمْ عَذَابًا مُهِينًا. This ayah, what does it say? Those who hurt Allah and His Prophet. I'll leave the rest to your imagination and thinking. Those who hurt Allah and His Prophet, لَعَنَهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. A person who hurts Allah and His Prophet, لَعَنَهُمْ. Someone says, la'na yani is all over the Quran. I could go on for days on the verses of la'na alone in the Quran. لَعَنَهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي الدُّنْيا وَالْآخِرَةِ وَعَدَّ لَهُمْ. And He has left for them the most painful chastisement. What does that mean? That means a person who hurts Allah and His Prophet, Allah withdraws His rahmah from him. When you hurt Rasulullah, you can either come and stab Rasulullah, yes? Or you can come and slap Rasulullah. And if Rasulullah has died, how could you hurt him? By doing the same to his children. Isn't that true? If you come and slap Rasulullah's beloved, or you kill Rasulullah's beloved, you have hurt Rasulullah. Ayah, what does it say? إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُؤْذُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Those who what? يُؤْذُونَ. That's why the Prophet in another hadith said, فَاطَمَ بَضْعَةٌ مِنِّي مَنْ أَذَاهَا فَقَدْ أَذَانِي. Look how the two words in Quran and hadith. Those who hurt Allah and His Prophet, Fatima's a part of me. Whoever hurts her, hurts me. Quran said, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُؤْذُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ لَعَنَهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. Allah withdraws His rahmah from them in dunya. Someone says, what do you mean in dunya? How does Allah withdraw His rahmah? You never know. That guy himself might one day get stabbed up. Or that guy himself may one day die, only a limb of his horse remains. The rest of his body, no one knows where it went in Sham that day. You know who I'm talking about. Allah works by removing the rahmah from whoever hurts the Prophet or his family. That's number 3. Someone said, yes, Allah does la'nah, but He never asks us humans to do la'nah. If Allah asked us humans, it's a different story. But Allah never asks us, so we shouldn't do la'nah. Look in Surah 5 verse 70. Prophets sunnah. The prophets of Allah sunnah was to do la'nah. As a way, please mark this line, as a way of getting closer to Allah. Because la'nah is not as a way so that I make the majlis more exciting. Yes? La'nah is not so I show I'm macho. La'nah is ibadah. It is a form of tabarra. It is a form of getting closer to Allah and Ahlul Bayt. Surah 5 verse 70, and make sure you write these down if you don't mind. Although I know that 99.9% of you listening to me have memorized the Quran. But if you haven't, it's always nice to use those gadgets they've created to try and write these verses. Although I know that many could also come back to the lecture, inshallah. Surah 5 verse 70, 2 prophets of God, they used to do la'nah. Which prophets? لُعِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلِ عَلَى لِسَانِ دَاوُودَ وَعِيسَى بْنِ مَرْيَمَ. The disbelievers of Bani Israel, la'nah was sent on them by 2 prophets. When a prophet does something, isn't that a guidance from Allah? Yes. So when a prophet does la'nah, that means Allah has guided them to do la'nah. لُعِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Nabi Dawood and Nabi Isa both done la'nah on Bani Israel. Because someone might say to me, Sayyidina, Ziyarat Ashura, why la'nah on Bani Umayyah? Why la'nah on Bani Marwan? Why la'nah on Bani? I say, Baba, Nabi Dawood and Nabi Isa done la'nah on Bani Israel. Someone says, you mean the whole of Bani Israel? No. Those who listened to oppression and accepted it. سَمِعَتْ بِذَلِكَ فَرَضِيَتْ بِهِ. You know the condition in Ziyarat Ashura. Not everyone in Bani Umayyah is bad. Nor is everybody in Bani Israel bad. Those people who are the worst, a dua by Nabi Dawood. Allahumma la'an. Allahumma la'an. That's therefore the prophets would do la'nah. Someone said, Ammar, wait. Allah does la'nah. The prophets do la'nah. But we normal people, we're meant to do la'nah? Yes. Surah 2, verse 159 of the Quran. There is a group in the Quran, Allah calls them al-la'inun. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَكْتُمُونَ مَا أَنزَلْنَا مِنَ الْبَيِّنَاتِ وَالْهُدَى مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا بَيَّنَّاهُ لِلنَّاسِ فِي الْكِتَابِ أُولَٰئِكَ يَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّاعِنُونَ. Listen to the criteria for who we're meant to give la'nah on. According to Quran, I don't want to use hadith, just Quran. Those who conceal what we have revealed from the heavens, after we made it clear to the people, Allah does la'nah on them, and you people should do la'nah on them as well. Imagine, Allah, what does His la'nah mean? Removes rahmah from them. What's our la'nah mean? Our la'nah means we ask Allah to remove His rahmah. Someone might bring a point here. I could ask Allah all day to do it. If I say, Allahumma la'an Yazid, from now till Qiyamah, Allah's going to punish Yazid anyway. So what's the point of my la'nah? The la'nah isn't about the effect. It's about the closeness in ibadah that you get from a stand of injustice. What do I mean? Understand the point. Me doing salawat every day, does that raise the status of Ahlul Bayt? If I done salawat in majalis the whole night, if I keep saying to people, do salawat, does that raise Ahlul Bayt status? If I'm in my car, I done salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Why then am I doing salawat? To maintain my connection to Al Muhammad. Therefore, when I keep doing la'na, it's not about whether that person gets affected. That person's getting burnt. That person will be destroyed. But I keep away from the acts of such a person. I dissociate from such a person. That person, whatever he's done, I never go there. What's more amazing in the Quran? Allah does la'na. Prophets did la'na. We do la'na. And then Allah even mentioned الشجرة الملعونة في القرآن. There is a cursed tree in the Quran. Imagine that the Quran, Allah says to the Prophet, وَمَا جَعَلْنَا الرُّؤْيَا الَّتِي أَرَيْنَاكَ إِلَّا فِتْنَةً لِلنَّاسِ. Yes? وَالشَّجَرَةَ الْمَلْعُونَةَ فِي الْقُرْآنِ. Hold on. Rasulullah, the Quran says, that we showed you a vision, a dream, and we showed you what? A cursed tree. Look in the books of hadith. Of course, the books were controlled by the Saqifa empires. You all know. So the Saqifa empires and Bani Umayyah, they're going to look after each other. They're not going to say, that ayah, by the way, was revealed about my dad and my granddad and my mum. No, who would do that? If I had tafsir of the Quran and an ayah came down about me, I'll be like, quickly delete it and throw my cousin under the bus, the one I don't like. Don't say that ayah is about me. But, subhanallah, you try and remove the nur of Allah, you cannot. You try and delete as much as you can. Until today in the books of tafsir, you will still see that it says that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had a dream that made him sad. What was this dream? Because the ayah says, وَمَا جَعَلْنَا الرُّؤْيَا الَّتِي أَرَيْنَاكَ إِلَّا فِتْنَةً لِلنَّاسِ وَالشَّجَرَةَ الْمَلْعُونَةَ. Allahu Akbar. Shajara means tree. Mal'una, a cursed tree. When someone asks you, what family are you from? You say, I'm from this family. What's the next question they always ask? What's your family tree? Isn't that true? Someone says, do you have your family tree? They don't say family plant. They don't say family, for example, rose, family flower. Say, what's your family tree? Surah 17 verse 60. Shajara, tree. Al-mal'una, the cursed tree. One opinion is that that's the nasty tree called Zaqqum. Yes, that's the one opinion. But the Prophet sees a tree, Zaqqum, something fishy. Muawiyah must have been up to something. And that's why if you look further and further, what will you find? Rasulullah saw Bani Umayyah or Bani Hakam or Bani As or whatever Bani nonsense they are. He saw them sitting on the tree, on his pulpit, and that was the cursed tree of Abu Sufyan and his family. And Hakam ibn al-As and his family, and the family of Marwan. Rasul saw them and said, these are monkeys sitting on the pulpits. And it saddened him. Why? Because who was the biggest enemy of Rasulullah? Abu Sufyan. Imagine he sees a dream. The Quran is saying, the cursed tree descendants of Abu Sufyan are now sitting on the minbar of Rasulullah. Did the dream actually occur or it didn't occur? Of course it occurred. Rasulullah died. The Muslims, and as we said, those who went and broke off their sects and become the first sect in Islam, that was the Saqifa sect. Before that, Islam did not have sects. Islam was Muhammad and Al Muhammad. The first sect in Islam was which one? Saqifa. Shia were not. Shia were Muslim. Shia was Islam. We only called ourselves Shi'at Ali when we saw an election take place while the Prophet was being buried. Otherwise, we would have called ourselves Shia. We would have remained Muslim. But if they are calling themselves whatever they call themselves, then we are Shi'at Amir al-Mu'mineen. Because we do not subscribe, you found therefore that at that beginning, what had taken place? Those same people who knew Muawiyah, Abu Sufyan, Hind, Marwan, all of these, they knew that they were a cursed tree. Remember, the Quran was revealed while the Prophet was alive. So imagine Surah 17 verse 60, وَالشَّجَرَةَ الْمَلْعُونَةَ فِي الْقُرْآن was revealed. Imagine at that moment you'll ask Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, what's this? Who's this cursed tree? And he'll say to you, this cursed tree is Bani al-Hakam, Bani Marwan, all of these. You'd say that I'd never let these get into power. Subhanallah. They let all of these get into power. Each one of that cursed tree, شجرة الملعونة. Allahu Akbar. Imagine someone told you your family tree is cursed. You'd kill yourself. Yes? A cursed family tree, that was that family tree. And that's why someone says, Rasulullah did la'na on these people. Yes. I ask you to hold on to two books. Tabari's Tarikh, you all know it, Rusul wal Mulk. And the other one is Baladari, Ahmed bin Yahya's, and Sab. And their other works as well. In there are a number of times where Rasulullah does la'na on who? Abu Sufyan and Muawiyah. And where he makes a number of things clear. Because sometimes someone might say, Rasul did not do la'nat, I will not do la'na. Why? Say Rasul was a man of mercy. He wouldn't do la'na. Normally as well, the ones who say these things, who you ask him, what do you do for a living? He says, I'm in finance. He says, so who gave you a right to start telling everyone how Rasulullah lived? You always have one member of the family, he's an expert in everything. Yani it's as if he's a doctor of every field. He says, I don't do la'na. Rasul did not do la'na. Rasul did not do la'na according to who? He says, according to me, he is a man of rahmah. Being a man of rahmah, a man of mercy, means that you are merciful to those who are oppressed and you pray against those who have done dhulm against the oppressed. That's rahmah. You are merciful to the madloom and you read the dua against the zalim. That's rahmah. Rahmah doesn't mean I walk around and hug a tree. Rahmah doesn't mean that I walk around with flowers. Rahmah, there is principles to it. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, read Tabari or read Baladari for the following hadiths. One day, Abu Sufyan was on a mule or on a camel. Who was with him? Muawiyah and Yazid. Which Yazid? Muawiyah's brother. Muawiyah had a brother called Yazid. And he had a son called Yazid. They were right, of course, you've got the rider and you've got the other two alongside. What did Rasulullah say? لَعَنَ اللَّهِ الرَّاكِبْ. And who? وَالْقَائِدْ. And who? وَالسَّائِقْ. La'na on the one who's riding and the one who's walking and the one who's carrying. In front of everybody. Everybody's watching it. لَعَنَ اللَّهِ الرَّاكِبْ وَالْقَائِدْ وَالسَّائِقْ. Who? The one who is riding, Abu Sufyan. And the other two next to him, Muawiyah and Yazid. If this was a Shi'i book, if it was a Shi'i book, I would say to you that this is biased. This is our books. I'm quoting to you Tabari and Baladari for the coming hadiths. So I've got this one. لعن الله الوات الراكب and القائد and السائق. Sa'iq, you know, Arabs will know. Sa'iq normally means the driver, correct? So you have la'na on these three. Who was it? Abu Sufyan, Muawiyah, and his brother Yazid. Then you have another hadith. What is it? إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ مُعَاوِيَ عَلْ مِنْبَرِ فَاقْتُلُوهُ. If you see Muawiyah on a minbar, kill Muawiyah. How clear can you be? If you see Muawiyah on a pulpit one day, he couldn't be in the time of Rasulullah because Rasulullah is the only man on minbar, true? No one's going to be on minbar when Rasulullah is there. After I die, إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ مُعَاوِيَ عَلْ مِنْبَرِ فَاقْتُلُوهُ. Clear guidance. If you ever see, why would Rasulullah say that? How many times have you people thought in your head, if the Prophet knew these people were bad, why did he just say something? Look how many times he said something. Look how many times. If there's three people walking past, one's on a mule, the other two alongside him, and Rasulullah does la'na on them, you'd pretty much think they're going to be quite bad people. Wouldn't you agree? The man of akhlaq, it's not about akhlaq, it's about making a clear stand for people's future. لعن الله الراكب والقائد والساق إذا رأيت معاوية على المنبر فاقتلوه. What else? He even said Muawiyah is in a taboot made of nar. You carry taboot in these nights, don't we? Taboot. He said Muawiyah will be in a taboot full of fire. All of these, by the way, I'm bringing is not from Shia literature. It's not from Shia literature. You will find it on some of the most famous works of the non-Shia. Therefore, all of these means what? The Quran encouraged me to do la'na. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi did la'na. Therefore, when someone comes and tells me, you Shia, why do you do la'na? This is a vital point I want you to understand. If someone today comes and says, why do you do la'na on Yazid? You shouldn't hate anyone. Have you heard these lines or no? Many times we hear these lines, that you shouldn't hate. Islam is a religion of love. Islam is a religion of what? Love. How do I reply? First thing is, I learned la'na from Muawiyah and from Mughira and from their clan. It was them who started the la'na on my Amir. And if you do la'na on my Amir, I'll do la'na on you until my mouth is paralyzed. Yeah? I will go to sleep doing la'na on you. And I will drive doing la'na on you. And I'm so happy doing la'na on you. Why? Because you doing la'na on my Amir, I pray to Allah to remove His rahmah from anyone who dared to insult my Amir. We do la'na. They used to do sab, difference. La'na, dua, asking Allah to withdraw rahmah. Mughira bin Shu'bah and Muawiyah bin Sufyan, the Nawasib, they used to sib, they used to go into derogatory language on Imam Ali alayhi salam. I'll never forget this hadith. When I saw it, I'm telling you, I don't think that night I slept, my dear brothers and sisters. Mughira bin Shu'bah, so Allah, I even have to hold myself back while I'm lecturing. Mughira bin Shu'bah was doing what? Mughira bin Shu'bah, this is where in Al-Mustadrak ala Sahihain, Al-Hakim An-Nisapuri. Why is it called Al-Mustadrak ala Sahihain? Sahihain means what in English? What does Sahihain mean? The two Sahihs, Bukhari and Muslim. You all with me? Sahihain, Bukhari and Muslim. Al-Mustadrak ala Sahihain is a book about those hadiths that their chains of hadith is acceptable to Muslim and Bukhari, but they never included them in their books. So he collected them and he put them in a book called Al-Mustadrak. Go to any Arab country in the world, even you go anywhere, for example, in Birmingham or in Bradford, you will find bookshops that sell Al-Mustadrak ala Sahihain. In Al-Mustadrak ala Sahihain, Mughira bin Shu'bah was cursing Ali ibn Abi Talib. Of course, next to Mughira, it's written, radiyallahu anh. Yeah, this is wonderful. Mughira bin Shu'bah, radiyallahu anh, cursed Ali ibn Abi Talib, radiyallahu anh. Alhamdulillah, wallah, alhamdulillah, I was born on true Islam and not Saqifa Islam. Mughira bin Shu'bah cursed Ali ibn Abi Talib. Cursed Ali ibn Abi Talib. You tell us all day. How many times have you heard every day in your life, Shia curse, Shia curse. You should not curse the Sahaba. Imam Ali is what then? What's Imam Ali? Imam Ali is not a Sahabi, yeah? Imam Ali is not Sahabi. Mughira cursed Imam Ali alayhi salam. Zayd bin Arqam radiyallahu anhu heard Mughira bin Shu'bah. And that's the beauty of Google, of course, by the way, because whatever I say in my majlis, you can literally Google these words in Arabic, the whole hadith will come up for you. Mughira bin Shu'bah cursed Ali ibn Abi Talib. Zayd bin Arqam heard him. Zayd, his reply, wallah, that night, it broke my heart when I heard this reply. You'd think that Zayd would say, how could you curse Ali ibn Abi Talib? Didn't he do well at Khaybar? Didn't he bring us victory at Khandaq? Didn't he help the Muslims? Didn't he? All the fada'il. Zayd replies to Mughira, how could you curse Ali ibn Abi Talib? Did Rasulullah not tell us, don't curse the dead? Now what do I do? Spit here? Yani, what do I do? Lose my senses on mimbar? Because you know, people, they often ask me, when you give majalis, you look like you're really riled up. Yeah, I'm not talking about, you know, a Sunday barbecue. I'm talking about Ahl al-Bayt. Ahl al-Bayt's masa'ib, it makes a person's blood boil. Yani if you sit up here on mimbar and you're relaxed, you've got severe issues. It's if you sit up here with passion, then you're on the right way. Rasulullah said, don't curse people who've died. That's all he gave to Islam. He's died. Imagine. Mughira bin Shu'bah would do cursing on Imam Ali. Muawiyah would pay people to curse Amir al-Mu'mineen. All of you have read the hadith when he asked Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas, why don't you curse Ali ibn Abi Talib? And Sa'ad replies, because of 3 reasons, Khaybar and Mubahala, and Ali is to me like Aaron was to Moses. Therefore, firstly, when someone comes and tells me that you shouldn't do la'na, firstly, I say, I learned from your masters. They taught me la'na when they started doing la'na on my Amir. Secondly, when you say to me, don't do la'na, I reply with something. What is it? I reply by saying that la'na, yes, you're right. It's a form of hate. Yes, I hate Muawiyah. Why should I lie? I have every right to hate Muawiyah in the way you hate Abu Talib. Yeah? I hate Muawiyah. And I hate Yazid. And I hate Abu Sufyan. Religion is no more than love and hate. Someone says, no, religion is love, said Ammar. I said, no, religion is love and hate. I said, no, we shouldn't love and hate. I ask you a question. Do you love justice? You love justice? So you must hate injustice. Isn't that true? Do you love truth? Yes. So you must hate what? Falsehood. Do you love Al Muhammad? So you must what? Hate those who oppressed Al Muhammad. Simple. I come to a third answer. What is it? Today we see in the Middle East the dhulm that occurs, don't we? Someone today says, I will not do la'na on these people, on Yazid and all the rest of them. I won't do la'na. Wallah, when Netanyahu comes up on the television screen, look at the person, at the words that come out of their mouth. Why? You shouldn't curse. Say, no, he's done dhulm against those innocent children. He's done dhulm against those ladies. He's done dhulm against all these people. As soon as he comes on the screen, la'natullah on him. And the one who does dhulm on the daughters of Fatima al-Zahra, no. How many do I see? They get slippers and smash it on the head of this leader. They get this. They spit on the statues of certain leaders. Only when it comes to the ones who oppressed Al Muhammad, no, I shouldn't do that. It's not right. Islam is a religion of love. When it's those things, your love has gone out of your window, hasn't it? Only when it comes to the ones who killed and hurt Amir al-Mu'mineen and Fatima Zahra, love. I don't like to do this. Wallah, I met one Iraqi, we were talking about Saddam, and he was like, La'natullah on Saddam. I was like, oh, okay. Well, discussion continued. We were talking about Saqifa. He goes, said, Ammar, I prefer not to. Yeah. So I was like, why? He goes, it's not right for bad language and la'na to come out of the mouth. I was like, and Saddam, he goes, Saddam, how many innocent people he killed? So a 6-month-old is not innocent? A broken rib is not innocent? Smashing people's bodies on the ground in the Shama Ghariban is not innocent? You come and tell me, why do you do la'na? You done la'na on Saddam and you do la'na on the one who kills these innocent children in the Middle East. But when it comes to Yazid and the others, all of a sudden, I'm a peaceful person. I don't get involved in these things. Have your principles. Someone says, why don't Sunnis want to jump into that la'na? There's 2 reasons why Sunnis will not jump into a world of la'na. The first is what's written in their books. What do I mean? In Sahih Muslim, Rasulullah, they say, has a hadith. Listen to these hadiths. Enjoy these hadiths with me. These are interesting hadiths. The first of them is Rasulullah said, whoever curses will not be an intercessor or a martyr on that station on the day of judgment. So then people stayed away from this. Second hadith. Rasulullah said, these are all in Sahih Muslim. So whatever I'm quoting, you can Google and type them. Second hadith, whoever does la'na, a Siddiq will not be someone who does la'na. A truthful person will not be someone who does la'na. But the third one is a classic. I've seen some classics, but this one's up there. This hadith is Sahih Muslim. The Prophet said, oh, Ya Allah, Muhammad is just a human. And humans get angry. So if he ever, this is the Prophet talking like in the third person. So if he ever curses or lashes anyone, then use it as an expiation for that person. And through this, let me get closer to you on the day of judgment. Just listen to that hadith. Oh Allah, I am Muhammad. I'm just a human. I get angry. If I curse anyone, then let the expiation go there and bring it close on the Day of Judgment. That's your prophet, not my prophet. That's your prophet. My prophet will tell Allah, you know what, I'm just a human, I get angry. And if I do curse occasionally, it could happen, so you have him. That's not my prophet. My prophet is a completely different man. The Sunni does not curse, number one, because of these hadiths. I have come as a mercy, not as a curser. So they stay away from cursing. But number two, why would they stay away? Because they know if you curse Yazid, then you need to then begin to discuss Yazid's daddy. And if you discuss Yazid's dad, you have to begin to discuss who put Yazid's dad in power in Sham. And if you discuss who put Yazid's dad in power in Sham, then you need to discuss how his best friend put him in power. Why don't they do la'na and why they stay away from la'na? It's remarkable. I studied the following Sunni ulama on the issue of la'na on Yazid. La'na on Yazid should be something so basic. Yazid killed the grandson of Rasulullah. You do a dua, every Muslim should do it. No, the pure Muslim does it. Saqifa's Muslims are in millions of branches. Let's see what they say. Ahmad bin Hanbal, what's his opinion on cursing Yazid? His son asked him, Dad, do you curse Yazid? Why don't you curse Yazid? He said, when have you seen your father curse anyone? When have you seen your father curse anyone? The killer and the killed, all of them are on haqq. All of them. Ghazali is interesting. Ghazali says you shouldn't curse Yazid for two reasons. The first reason you shouldn't curse Yazid is what? Is that we don't really know if it was him who ordered for Hussein to be killed. Yani, what do you say? We don't know if it's him. Wa Ghazali, Sufi, spiritual. Ihya ulum ad-din. Firstly, Yazid, we don't know if it's what? If he's the one who ordered for Imam Hussein to be killed. More than who's the Khalifa? Yeah, it's Yazid. He says, but he's not in Karbala at the time, so he didn't kill him. Saddam Hussein butchered how many people? Does that mean that every single one of them he shot? Or does he order his governors in an area to kill? Anyway, Ghazali, mashallah, Sufi, Arfani, spiritual, whatever title you give him anyway. Ghazali, first opinion, don't curse Yazid because what? We don't know. Secondly, Wahshi? He says Wahshi ripped Hamza's body at Uhud. Yeah, when he threw the spear into the chest. But he did tawbah afterwards. We don't know if Yazid did. Hi, what do you say? Alhamdulillah for Islam. Wallah, thank God we had Ghadir. And thank God I was not from the followers of the Saqif a lot. Imagine, Wahshi done tawbah. So maybe Yazid did done tawbah. Maybe Yazid done tawbah. The drunkard who plays with the face of the grandson of Rasulullah could do tawbah. That drunkard, that's number two. Number three, there was an even more interesting one. Dhahabi. Why shouldn't you do la'na on Yazid? What does Dhahabi say? He goes, Yazid looks bad because of the greats who just came before him. Oh, that's a sick one. That you have to give credit. That is... that I have to give a thumbs up to Shaitan that day because he was like spot on. There were great leaders before Yazid. So what he did looked bad in comparison to how great they were. Had Yazid come a bit later, we wouldn't call him bad. But because he came after Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali, anyone would look bad. What is it? Alex Ferguson being replaced as manager? What is it? Wallah, Jurgen Klopp being replaced as a manager? What is it? You know how people say, this person's bad because the previous manager, yes? Mama, the person who's come in has only lost some games, not ordered for butchering of babies and kids, and not ordered for ladies to be paraded in streets. Zahabi says, therefore, Yazid, we don't like him. but he looks bad because of who he came after. Of the people who said, allow all of you, I'm Sunni, but I will curse him, was Ibn al-Jawzi. Ibn al-Jawzi has a book, Ar-Rad ala al-Muta'assib al-Anid. Yes? A reply to the what? To the zealot, ignorant one. Ar-Rad ala al-Muta'assib al-Anid. That book, in it, he concludes Yazid has to be cursed for what he did to Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam. Yes? Al-Muta'assib al-Anid, what is it? Muta'assib is that zealot person. I don't care, I'm not cursing Yazid. Whatever Yazid does, I will still not curse. Anid, he's reached a level where he's just so supportive of his zealotry that no one can change his mind. He refuses to do la'na. He wrote that book, Ar-Rad ala al-Muta'assib al-Anid. Yes? That book shows you that even though someone was not Shia, he's like, even though I'm not Shia, what that man did to Ahl al-Bayt, you should never take. I've said this line in many majalis before, and I'll say it tonight. There are those who come and tell me, don't do la'na on Yazid. I reply to them, I'll do double the la'na on him. For if Allah is willing to forgive Yazid for killing Imam al-Hussein, then he'll forgive my la'na on him. Yes? If Yazid could be forgiven for killing Abu Abdullah, then me doing la'na, Allah will say, you should be all right as well. There is no way there is any forgiveness for this man. This man is not even a Muslim. This man has no belief whatsoever. And that's why for us, Ziyarat Ashura is a stand against dhulm everywhere, anywhere. That we make sure when we do la'na, there's a lesson for us. What is it? Number one, don't be like the person you're doing la'na on. That's a vital lesson. There's no point me doing la'na on Yazid and I drink like Yazid drinks. There's no one me doing la'na on Yazid and I strike woman the way he struck woman in my family. I strike woman of Rasulullah's family. You see that Yazid, what did he do? He found it normal to order that everyone should be attacked. It doesn't matter if they were related to him or not. And that's why in Karbala, who was his relative? Of course, his relative was Layla. Muawiyah was her uncle. Yazid's her first cousin. Therefore, Ali Akbar is Yazid's second cousin. Imagine. Abu Sufyan is Ali Akbar's great-grandfather. Ali Akbar is who? Ali Akbar is the son of who? Son of Layla, daughter of Maymuna, daughter of Abu Sufyan. Imagine. Abu Sufyan is Ali Akbar's great-grandfather. So Ali Akbar from one side, his great-grandfather was Rasulullah, and from the other, his great-grandfather was who? Abu Sufyan. Imagine that. That on that level you had what? His great-grandfathers going back all that way, of course. You found what? You found that Amir al-Mu'mineen was his grandfather. This one, Abu Sufyan. And that's why Yazid at the beginning, he had ordered that try and let Ali al-Akbar go because his mom Layla is my first cousin. Ali al-Akbar would have none of it. There's no chance that I would leave the path of my father. The path of true Islam, of pure Islam. La'na on those who killed Ali al-Akbar. La'na on those who broke the heart of Sayyid al-Shuhada. And what they did to Ali al-Akbar on that particular day on Ashura. May Allah never show you having to bid farewell to your son. If your son is on a hospital bed and you have to hear Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. May that never happen to any parent, yes? And may no mother have to bid farewell to her boy. I pray for every mother that she never has to say goodbye to her son. I bid farewell. It must be the hardest moment. Only Allah knows what his mother went through when she saw him reciting the adhan of Fajr, and she saw him how wonderful that young man was, and she saw how brave he was and how pure he was. he finished, he went to ride his horse. The narrations mention that when him and Imam al-Hussein hugged each other, they virtually fell on the ground. A father cannot just let his son go like that. Imagine Abu Abdullah holding his young boy, and he was holding him, and they're hugging each other. And then Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam said, bid farewell to your mother, bid farewell to your auntie Zainab. He went, he hugged his mother, and then he hugged his auntie Zainab alayhi salam. And then after that, what happened? After that, he went and rode his horse. Then he heard, come back here, my son, come back. Allah. He turned around, he said, Father, what is it? He said, come back, I want to bid farewell to you. He said, Father, but you already bid farewell to me. Imagine this moment. He said to him, but my son, you don't know how hard it is for a father to bid farewell to the son. You don't know, they embraced each other one final time. He went out on the battlefield, approached the enemies, the armor being heavy for him, and the thirst of Karbala taking over him, until he came out on the battlefield. When he came out, he said the memorable lines, أنا علي بن الحسين بن علي نحن ورب البيت أولى بالنبي أطعنكم بالرمح حتى ينثني أضربكم بالسيف أحمي عن أبي ضرب غلام هاشمي علوي والله لا يحكم فينا ابن الداعي. He fought valiantly like the rest of them fought, yes. He fought valiantly. Anyone who would come near him, he would attack him. But the mother's heart was breaking slowly inside that tent, especially when she couldn't see any of what was happening on the plains of Karbala. When horses are coming across each other, all you see is sand, yes? All you see is dust. The heart of Layla began to break. At that moment, she looked at Abu Abdullah. Normally, when she would look at Abu Abdullah, that would be the sign whether Akbar was okay or no. If she saw Abu Abdullah smiling, she'd know that her boy was okay. She suddenly saw a change in the face of Abu Abdullah. Yes. She said to him, my master, tell me what's happening to my boy. He said to her, Layla, I see them about to attack him. But he said, the dua of a mother is never rejected by Allah. This line breaks all of our hearts. The dua of a mother is never rejected by Allah. So she then called out to Allah at that moment, oh Allah, you returned Yusuf back to Yaqub, you returned Ismail back to Hajar, return my boy back to me. He came back to his mother. He embraced his mother. He looked into her eyes. She was crestfallen. She was heartbroken. Then at that moment, he looked at his father. He could see his father was in pain. But he had to say it. He said to him, Father, the thirst of Karbala has taken over me. Imagine that sight. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he placed his tongue on the tongue of his boy. What did the boy reply? Father, your tongue is drier than mine. Allahu Akbar. Imagine how Abu Abdullah's tongue was. Imam said to him, in a moment, your grandfather will quench your thirst. Shortly afterwards, he was lying on the ground and he called out, Alaykum minni salam ya Abu Abdullah. Abu Abdullah, normally when he would come out out of the tent. Normally he would run, but this time he couldn't run. They said, why? He said, I don't have the strength to run. Allahu Akbar. Normally when he'd run out of the tent, he would run towards the person killed, except Akbar. Sukaina called out, Father, he's in that direction, why are you going another? He said, Sukaina, don't blame me. The death of your brother has blinded your father. Eventually he got by his son's body. When he got there, he sat by him. There was a dagger in his chest. The whole chest had been opened apart. The two of them looked at each other. Imagine that sight. He saw his son smiling, then he saw his son crying. He said to him, my son, why do you smile and why do you cry? He said to him, Father, I smile because I see my grandfather walking towards me. Allah, he's about to quench my thirst, like you said. Then he said to him, then why do you cry? He said, because I see my grandmother Fatima coming towards me. He said to him, but then why do you cry? He said, for every tear that you shed, I see her slapping her cheeks in front of me. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. With these tears, ask for your hajat. All of you have hajat here. May Allah bless those tears of yours. All of you have hajat. This is the son of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. If a heart cannot break for Ali Akbar, it won't break for anyone. Yes? Ya Allah, all of us together, let's rise for Ma'tam al-Hussein. Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein. Let's all together.
Hussein, Ya Hussein, कहती